So before I got into accounting, I used to work for this. I was a telemarketer for a dating service. This was around the time that there were like video dating services before the internet, but we didn't have videos. We matched people up based on their compatibility. We had these counselors who would match people up, but they weren't actually counselors. They were just salespeople, and we just had regular people we found in the newspaper, just matching people up based on their compatibility. Anyway, our manager for a period of time, because they would always like bring in new management to try to make the company, keep the company from going out of business. So my manager for a time, his name was John, last name of Valentine, and he had gelled slick back hair into a tight ponytail, and smart. And we were on phone calls, um, trying to sell appointments to come in and meet with our counselors to sell the dating service. He'd like reach his hand in, rub our shoulders motivationally, you know, uh, make sure we knew that, we had support from our boss, uh, you know, to keep selling on that call. Anyway, one day I came into work and John, on his desk, he had this picture propped up of a little boy with big blue indentation, and it was a blue indentation. And he told me it was his son. And I said, "Why do you have a picture of your son with a big blue indentation in his head?" He said, "Well, yesterday I was pulling out of the driveway and I ran over my son's head." And and I was like, "What? Why are you here? Like, well, first of all, is your son alive?" He said, "Oh yeah, no." He's like, "My son is so smart. It was great." He was like, "Dad, you're going the wrong way to get to the hospital. The hospital's that way." Well, his son was like 3 years old, so I'm not really sure, you know, all the truth to this story, but apparently he's backing out of the driveway. His son was playing, ran over his son's head. Um, and so he's like, "Well, I've got this picture propped up here to remind me of how stupid I was to run over my son's head." And I'm like, "Well, maybe instead you should, instead of taking pictures of your son's head and then propping it up on your desk because of your very, very important job as telemarketing manager for a freaking dating service, maybe you should go back to the hospital with your baby mama." And this was actually before the term baby mama was used. So like your ex-girlfriend, whatever, go make sure your son's okay. Oh, he's fine. He's fine. But I need to look at this picture of my son's indented head, um, to remind me, I don't know, I guess to look, I don't know, to not run over your son's head. Um, and so, yeah, I just sat there all day, just going, I ran over my son's head. But apparently his son turned out okay. Uh, Incidentally, later on, he and the ex-girlfriend, I don't know, they decided to make it permanent, their breakup. And so he needed to store some things in my garage. And so there was a bunch of VHS tapes in boxes, and so a nice coffee table that I ended up keeping for, utilizing in my apartment for quite a few years. But yeah, he left it all there, and I tried to collect some rent from him, but he ended up disappearing. I never saw him again. And so I just ended up with all of his VHS tapes and a couple pieces of furniture. And I was going to say, unfortunately, I didn't end up with a picture of his son and his indented head, but actually that would bother me too much, and I just feel horrible. But uh, work environments like that, um, make me really it makes me, like, really believe in the idea uh, of this life being like a simulation because that was certainly a place where those people couldn't actually exist. How could they I mean, the big ill-fitting suit, from JCPenney or and the slick back hair and the tight ponytail and the sexual harassment with the hands in the shirt and running over his son's head and then storing a bunch of crap in my garage. Yeah, a very weird place to work. I hope that kid's okay. I think that just having Mr. Valentine as a dad was probably even more detrimental than that quick little bump, you know, playing speed bump for a day.